Hi, welcome to this video on Maria's initial IEP. So for the IEP project, the task is for you to update Maria's IEP paperwork for 4th grade. What I'm going to show in this video is the initial IEP that was developed for Maria in 3rd grade. I've populated the cells at the top with fictitious information. If you've already placed pseudonyms, made-up address, telephone number, keep what you have. I've set the date hypothetically here, imagining that the initial was developed on December 11th of 2019, meaning that you're working on revising and updating paperwork for her 2020 annual review. I'm selecting boxes that are a little bit different than what you marked, again, because this is the initial IEP. So I've selected evaluation, including determination of initial eligibility, develop an initial IEP, and determine initial placement. However, you're not selecting anything under evaluation, reevaluation. You're only selecting develop annual IEP and or review, revise IEP. And under placement, you're selecting determining current placement. The remaining boxes on that page can be left blank. For your project, since you're doing the review and update, you can keep consistent that you will review the initial evaluation, you'll review statewide assessments and district-wide assessments. I've noted yes here to say that that was done at the initial IEP meeting. Now I've listed some fictitious team members who attended the meeting, and I do want to highlight ones that you'll want to make sure that you have. You can keep whatever name you gave, but you'll want a name to designate that somebody in that role was attending the meeting. So first you'd want the parent. Second, you would want general education teacher. Third, you would want special education teacher. Fourth, you would want an interpreter. Fifth, you would want and need an LEA or local education agency representative who could make budgetary decisions. There are other members who can be invited. I've listed more names here because more people were present at the initial IEP meeting likely than would be at the annual review. For example, the school psychologist might not be at every annual review meeting. Now on page 3, I'm listing strengths of Maria's, and I will upload this document so that you can read through what the strengths are. Notice that there are multiple paragraphs giving detailed information about the academic strengths and interests that Maria has. So at minimum, you should have something captured to reflect what is of interest to Maria according to her self-report that you might contrive or make up, but we want that documented somewhere on the student strengths section. In addition, we know that Maria is bilingual, and having 2 languages to use is an asset, so you can list in this section information about Maria using English and Spanish to read, write, listen, and speak. Now, under current academic achievement and functional performance, I've got lengthy chunks of text here to describe what Maria's current performance level was in 3rd grade. You're using additional pieces of data from that case study to make updates to this and expand on any of the content that is here. It should not be that you simply copy paste and just change a percentage or reading level. It should be that you think through the content that's listed here and evaluate whether the person reading it could get an objective, clear picture of Maria's performance, meaning it's free of subjective language. It's free of really dense jargon with no explanation of what a test is or what a score means. There's inclusion of Maria's own perception, attitude, so interview data. There's some sort of observation data and summary of work samples. So I'm thinking of Riot, the records, review, interview, observation, and testing data that I would want to capture for the areas listed here. I've got reading, writing, math, and I've listed these under academics. In class, we generated a very dense statement and included functional behavior in this section. So as you go through revisions, you can separate the two parts. So you've got academic on the top, and then under functional performance, the information that's here addresses the themes of planning and organization, social, emotional, behavioral, and adaptive behavior. Under special factors, on this initial IEP, I've indicated no, that Maria's behavior does not impede her learning or that of others. Yes, she is an English learner. There is a statement to describe how this factor affects the student's needs related to the IEP. And I've selected non-applicable for other special factors like being blind or visually impaired, having communication needs related to a hearing impairment or deafness. I have selected yes under assistive technology, and I've specified some supports that Maria uses as a compensatory aid, designated these as low tech and high tech. When you update the IEP, you can decide if you want to keep these, if you imagine they were working well, if you're going to add new things to help support even more. This is just kind of a starting ground for you to refer to as you write the assistive technology tools and devices that Maria might use. Now I've captured concerns of the family. You've already drafted this. If anything that you've written you want to expand on or change, you're welcome to do that for the next submission. I am going to address in the Ed puzzle how to summarize here the effects of disability using the root cause analysis recommended by DPI. So I've left this part blank because I don't want to give a giveaway on what to write for Maria there. There is some pain and tension and discomfort in learning how to write this section. So it's a good sign for the things that are challenging, frustrating, unclear. In sum, on Maria's IEP, the identified needs are going to fall under the category of reading comprehension, reading fluency, and written expression. And I've listed that here because it will connect to content that follows in the IEP. Under family engagement, I've provided a summary of different approaches that are used to interact with the family, keep two-way communication open, so it's not just school sending messages home, and I've kind of given a sense of what the role is of the person, what the frequency is of the communication, what the mechanism is, and how that sort of ongoing dialogue will be facilitated. Now, under participation in the general curriculum, Maria's needs are still within the purview of Common Core standards, so she will not need to be on an alternate assessment. She'll participate full-time and general education curriculum aligned with Common Core standards, next generation science standards. For her measurable annual goals, I'm doing the same thing here as I did with the effects of the disability. I'm not providing the specific goal and benchmark because that would allow you to just make a simple update and rewrite. And there's a lot to benefit from really starting with the data that you have in the case study to identify what a clear, measurable goal could be for Maria in the 3 areas of reading comprehension, reading fluency, and written expression. Under program summary, I've listed supplementary aids and services that you are welcome to maintain in the next IEP. You can change any of them, you can add to these, provided that you're doing that with a rationale that it's fulfilling one of the identified needs of reading comprehension, fluency, or written expression. So we don't want to give more than is needed to the student. This isn't a case where everything that could possibly benefit a student should be listed here. These are the things that we're saying we want commitment on, that these will be used consistently and advocated for. So I've got paraverbal input with visual supports when introducing new vocabulary, using a 5-second wait time after giving multi-step directions and asking open-ended questions, providing study guides for tests 3 to 5 days prior, modifying curriculum-based assessments, meaning teacher-made end-of-unit kind of tests, so that there are 3 response choices and fill in the blanks to adjust for reading demands and written expression demands. No penalty for spelling errors when spelling is graded on extended writing assessments. Non-reading tests read aloud, extended time on writing, tasks and graphic organizers, and think sheets for writing. Under specially designed instruction, I've listed the areas where she'll receive instruction, reading and writing. Writing appears twice because she'll receive writing in the general education setting for 150 minutes per week, which is about 30 minutes per day on a 5-day week. But she'll also get intensive support in the resource room for 90 minutes a week, or 45 minutes per 2 times per 5-day week. These frequencies and amounts tend to vary and follow patterns within school districts. So there's not a formula that you can memorize and know here. You'll kind of understand from discussions that you have in the role of a special education teacher with the director of special education to learn what to recommend. The 300 minutes per week for reading is, from my own auditing of IEPs and writing IEPs, a pretty standard amount for somebody with reading needs similar to what Maria has. Under related services, I've only selected one related service, and I've documented that the assistive technology provider would do some consultation to help check in on equipment, make sure that things are set up in there, maybe problem solve with the team. This is a little bit of a lofty or ideal request to document here. The availability of assistive technology providers, ATPs, varies quite a bit across districts. There may not be someone in that role, but I put it here because I really want to call out the importance of the assistive technology to support reading and writing for Maria. So I'm documenting that as the only related service that Maria is receiving. There are no special supports for school personnel. They're not going to need to be trained on some new technique or method or curriculum. No equipment will be needed to help them do any kind of like positioning or seating. So that's not really relevant in this particular case. Now, I've designated here what happened in third grade, hypothetically, for Maria. And what happened was she received the specially designed instruction in a separate resource room setting for reading and those two 45-minute segments of writing. And you can decide if you're going to keep that model or if you're going to have her participate fully in the general education environment where maybe there's co-teaching happening. So in this case where she's working in the resource room and not full-time with reading directly from the paper here, non-disabled peers and regular education environment, providing information to state that she is not full-time in the gen ed environment and then to give a rationale why that is. So if you want to stick with this model, you can use that verbatim. If you want to change to have her participate full-time, then you would select the box that indicates that and delete the rest of the blue content that I've selected. I've also indicated that she'll participate in the general education environment. So that takes me to the end of the IEP pages that were designated for this assignment. I will upload this draft, which again is incomplete because I don't have goals and I don't have the statement for disability-related effects. Those are things that I want you to generate after watching the Ed puzzle.